You're standing in the scorching desert of Giza, dwarfed by a monument that shouldn't exist. The Great Pyramid looms before you, its massive limestone blocks fitted together with such precision that you can't slide a knife blade between them. Each stone weighs as much as a modern car, some as much as 15 cars stacked together. And somehow, 4,500 years ago, people built this without cranes, without wheels, without even iron tools. How is that possible? Tonight, we're diving deep into one of history's most mind-bending mysteries. A puzzle that has consumed archaeologists, engineers, and conspiracy theorists for centuries. Because the more you study the Great Pyramid, the more impossible it becomes. We're not just talking about moving heavy rocks here. We're talking about mathematical precision that rivals modern architecture, astronomical alignments that suggest knowledge we didn't think ancient people possessed, and construction techniques that, well, we still can't figure out how they did it. And here's what's really going to blow your mind. By the end of this investigation, you'll discover why some of the world's leading experts believe the builders of the Great Pyramid had access to technology or knowledge that was somehow lost to history. Others whisper about even more extraordinary possibilities. Ancient astronaut theorists claim the precision is so perfect, so impossibly exact, that it couldn't have been achieved by human hands alone. But before you dismiss that as science fiction, consider this. The Great Pyramid's base is leveled to within just 2.1 centimeters. That's less than an inch across a foundation that covers 13 acres. The orientation is so precise that it's aligned to true north within 3/60th of a degree. Even with today's GPS technology and laser levels, that level of accuracy would be challenging. My name is, well, that doesn't matter. What matters is that I've spent years researching this enigma, poring over archaeological reports, interviewing experts, and yes, diving into the more controversial theories that mainstream academia prefers to ignore. Because when you're dealing with something this extraordinary, you can't afford to dismiss any possibility. The ancient Egyptians called it Ikhet, meaning glorious light. We call it the Great Pyramid of Giza, and it's not just big, it's impossibly, perfectly, mysteriously big. Rising 481 feet into the desert sky, it was the tallest structure on Earth for over 3,800 years. Think about that. For nearly 4 millennia, nothing humans built came close to its height. But size isn't what makes this pyramid truly mysterious. It's the precision, the perfection, the impossible engineering that makes modern architects shake their heads in disbelief. Let me paint you a picture of what we're actually dealing with here. The Great Pyramid contains approximately 2.3 million stone blocks. Each block weighs between 2.5 and 15 tons on average. But here's where it gets really weird. The heaviest blocks, the ones forming the king's chamber, weigh up to 80 tons each. That's 160,000 pounds. And these massive granite blocks were somehow transported from quarries 500 miles away, then lifted and positioned with millimeter precision hundreds of feet above the ground. Using what? Ropes and ramps? Copper tools and human muscle? The official explanation feels inadequate, incomplete, like we're missing crucial pieces of the puzzle. And the deeper you dig, the stranger it gets. The pyramid's dimensions encode mathematical constants that weren't supposed to be discovered until thousands of years later. The ratio of the pyramid's height to its base perimeter equals pi, accurate to several decimal places. The pyramid's base perimeter, when divided by its height, gives you the golden ratio. These aren't coincidences. They're intentional, sophisticated mathematical relationships embedded in stone. But wait, there's more. The pyramid is aligned not just to true north, but to specific star constellations. The 3 pyramids of Giza mirror the belt stars of Orion, a constellation the Egyptians associated with Osiris, god of the afterlife. The southern shaft of the king's chamber points directly to Orion's belt as it appeared in 2450 BCE. The northern shaft aligns with the pole star of that era. This isn't just construction. This is advanced astronomy, encoded in architecture, executed with precision that challenges everything we think we know about ancient capabilities. So how did they do it? How did workers 4,500 years ago, supposedly using nothing but copper tools, wooden rollers, and human labor, achieve something that would challenge our best engineers today? The mainstream explanation goes something like this. Tens of thousands of workers, organized into teams, quarried the limestone blocks locally and transported granite from distant Aswan using barges on the Nile. They built massive ramps, possibly spiraling around the pyramid's exterior or zigzagging up one face, to haul the blocks into position. They used copper tools to cut the stone, wooden rollers to move it, and sheer human determination to overcome the impossible physics. But here's the problem. The numbers don't add up. Not even close. Let's do the math. If the Great Pyramid took 20 years to build, as most Egyptologists claim, the workers would have needed to quarry, transport, and position one block every 2 minutes, working 10 hours a day, every day, for 2 decades. That's assuming they worked without breaks, without mistakes, without the delays that plague every construction project in human history. One block every 2 minutes for 20 years, each weighing several tons, positioned with architectural precision that we struggle to match today. Does that sound remotely feasible to you? And that's just the logistics. What about the actual construction techniques? How do you lift an 80-ton granite block 300 feet into the air using only ropes and ramps? How do you position it with millimeter accuracy? How do you create perfectly smooth surfaces on granite, one of the hardest stones on Earth, using copper tools that are softer than the stone itself? The official explanations start to feel like magic tricks. They used ramps, the experts say, but no evidence of ramps capable of handling such massive weights has ever been found. They used levers and pulleys, they suggest, but wooden levers would snap under the load, and pulleys weren't invented until much later. They had thousands of workers, they insist. But feeding, housing, and organizing tens of thousands of people in the desert would have been a logistical nightmare that makes modern military operations look simple. The more you examine the conventional explanations, the more they crumble under scrutiny. Which is why some researchers have begun exploring more unconventional possibilities. What if the ancient Egyptians had access to technology we don't understand? What if they possessed knowledge that was somehow lost to history? What if they weren't working alone? These aren't just the ravings of internet conspiracy theorists. Respected engineers, archaeologists, and researchers have quietly begun questioning the official narrative. Because when you strip away the assumptions and look at the evidence with fresh eyes, the Great Pyramid becomes less like an ancient construction project and more like something else entirely. Consider the work of engineer Christopher Dunn, who spent decades analyzing the pyramid's construction. His conclusion: the precision machining evident in the pyramid's granite surfaces suggests the use of advanced power tools. The perfectly smooth surfaces, the precise angles, the complex internal chambers, all point to technology far beyond what we attribute to ancient Egypt. Or take the research of geologist Dr. Robert Schoch, who examined the weathering patterns on the Sphinx and concluded it must be thousands of years older than conventional dating suggests. If the Sphinx is older, what does that say about the civilization that built it? How advanced were they really? Then there's the work of archaeoastronomer Anthony West, who argues that the astronomical alignments of the Giza complex demonstrate knowledge of celestial mechanics that shouldn't have existed in ancient times. The builders didn't just know about the stars. They understood precession, the slow wobble of Earth's axis that takes 26,000 years to complete one cycle. These aren't fringe theories anymore. They're serious scientific inquiries into anomalies that the mainstream archaeological community has struggled to explain. But some researchers go even further. They suggest that the precision of the Great Pyramid, the impossible logistics of its construction, and the advanced knowledge encoded in its dimensions point to something truly extraordinary, something that challenges our entire understanding of human history. Ancient astronaut theorists like Erich von Däniken and Zecharia Sitchin have long argued that the pyramid's precision suggests extraterrestrial involvement. They point to ancient texts describing gods who came from the sky, bringing advanced knowledge and technology. They note that similar pyramids appear in cultures around the world, from Mexico to China, suggesting a common source of knowledge. While these theories remain controversial, they're addressing real anomalies that conventional archaeology struggles to explain. The precision is there. The impossible logistics are there. The advanced knowledge is there. The only question is how to interpret it. Other researchers propose that ancient Egypt was the remnant of a much more advanced civilization, possibly survivors of Atlantis or another lost culture. They suggest that the pyramid builders weren't primitive people with copper tools, but inheritors of sophisticated technology that was gradually lost over time. Graham Hancock, author of Fingerprints of the Gods, argues that the pyramid complex represents the legacy of an advanced prehistoric civilization that was wiped out by a global catastrophe around 12,000 years ago. The survivors, he suggests, passed on their knowledge to cultures like ancient Egypt, leading to the sudden appearance of sophisticated monuments like the Great Pyramid. Even more intriguingly, some researchers have proposed that the Great Pyramid wasn't actually a tomb at all, but some kind of technological device. Christopher Dunn's Giza power plant theory suggests that the pyramid was designed to harness Earth's natural energy and convert it into usable power. The complex internal chambers, the precise dimensions, the choice of materials, all point to a function far more sophisticated than a simple burial monument. The theory sounds outlandish until you consider the evidence. The pyramid's chambers show signs of chemical reactions. The granite contains high amounts of quartz crystal, which has piezoelectric properties. The dimensions create acoustic resonance chambers. The structure seems designed to interact with natural forces in ways we're only beginning to understand. But here's what's truly unsettling. The more we learn about the Great Pyramid, the more mysterious it becomes. Every new discovery raises more questions than it answers. Every attempt to explain its construction reveals new impossibilities. Recent research using cosmic ray imaging has revealed hidden chambers inside the pyramid. Chambers that weren't supposed to exist. Chambers that suggest the internal structure is far more complex than we imagined. What were these chambers for? What did they contain? And how did the builders create them with such precision? Other studies have found that the pyramid's base sits on a natural rocky outcrop that was carefully shaped to provide perfect stability. The builders didn't just find a good location, they engineered the very foundation to precise specifications. The level of planning and engineering sophistication is staggering. And then there are the details that make no sense from a conventional perspective. The pyramid's internal passages are too narrow for the sarcophagus in the king's chamber. The sarcophagus would have had to be installed during construction, not after. But if it was installed during construction, how did they achieve such precise positioning? How did they know exactly where it needed to go? The more you study the Great Pyramid, the more it feels like looking at technology disguised as architecture, like examining a computer and being told it's just a pile of rocks. Which brings us to the central mystery. If the ancient Egyptians built the Great Pyramid using conventional methods, why can't we replicate their achievement today? Why do modern attempts to move massive stone blocks using ancient techniques fail so spectacularly? Why do our best engineers struggle to match the precision of builders who supposedly used only copper tools and human labor? The answer might be that we're asking the wrong questions. Instead of asking how they built the pyramid, maybe we should be asking who they really were. Instead of assuming they were primitive people with primitive tools, maybe we should consider that they possessed knowledge and capabilities that we've lost or never had. The Great Pyramid stands as a monument to human achievement, but it might also be a monument to human mystery, a reminder that our understanding of history, of technology, of human capability itself, might be fundamentally incomplete. And that's what makes this investigation so compelling. We're not just exploring ancient construction techniques. We're questioning the very nature of human civilization. We're confronting the possibility that our ancestors were far more advanced than we ever imagined, or that they weren't working alone. The truth is out there, carved in stone, waiting to be deciphered. But deciphering it might require abandoning everything we think we know about the past. The Great Pyramid of Giza isn't just a tomb. It's a mystery, a challenge, a riddle carved in stone that has puzzled humanity for millennia. And after 4,500 years, we're still trying to solve it. So buckle up, because what you're about to discover will challenge everything you thought you knew about ancient Egypt, about human history, and about the very nature of human achievement. The impossible precision of the Great Pyramid is just the beginning. The real mystery runs much deeper than anyone imagined. The deeper we dive into this ancient enigma, the more the official story begins to unravel like ancient papyrus exposed to sunlight. Because there's something the mainstream archaeological establishment doesn't want you to know. Something that threatens the very foundation of how we understand human history. The conventional narrative paints a picture of gradual progress. Stone Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age. A steady march towards civilization. But what if that's wrong? What if human development wasn't a straight line, but a series of peaks and valleys? What if the builders of the Great Pyramid represented a peak of knowledge that we've never quite reached again? Let's examine the evidence that mainstream archaeology struggles to explain away. First, there's the precision of the cuts. When you examine the granite blocks in the king's chamber up close, you'll notice something extraordinary. The surfaces are perfectly smooth, not just smooth by ancient standards, smooth by modern standards. We're talking about tolerances measured in thousandths of an inch, on granite, one of the hardest stones on Earth. Modern stonemasons, using diamond-tipped power tools, struggle to achieve this level of precision. Yet somehow, ancient workers supposedly accomplished it with copper chisels and sand. Copper, a metal so soft you can dent it with your fingernail. Dr. Petrie, the renowned Egyptologist who first measured the pyramid's precision in the 1880s, was so shocked by what he found that he initially refused to publish his results. He couldn't believe ancient people could achieve such accuracy. The core masonry, he discovered, was fitted together with joints averaging 1/50th of an inch. Some joints were so tight that they measured only 1/500th of an inch. To put that in perspective, that's tighter than the tolerances used in modern aircraft manufacturing. But the precision goes beyond just fitting stones together. The entire structure demonstrates mathematical relationships that shouldn't have existed in ancient knowledge. The slope angle of the pyramid's faces is exactly 51 degrees and 52 minutes. This isn't arbitrary. This specific angle creates a mathematical relationship where the pyramid's height relates to its base circumference in the same way that a circle's radius relates to its circumference. In other words, they encoded pi into the structure. Pi, a mathematical constant that wasn't officially discovered until the Greeks came along thousands of years later. Coincidence? Let's see what else they accidentally stumbled upon. The pyramid's base perimeter, when divided by its height, equals 3.14 to 159. Pi, accurate to several decimal places. The pyramid's weight, multiplied by 10 to the 15th power, equals the approximate weight of the Earth. The pyramid's height, multiplied by 1 billion, approximates the distance from Earth to the Sun. Are we seriously supposed to believe these are all coincidences? That ancient workers, focused on building a tomb for their pharaoh, accidentally encoded multiple advanced mathematical constants into their structure? Or consider the astronomical alignments. The pyramid's 4 sides are aligned to true north with an accuracy of 3/60th of a degree. That's an error of just 0.05 degrees. Modern surveyors, using sophisticated equipment, consider anything within 0.1 degrees to be excellent work. But here's what's truly mind-bending. True north isn't fixed. It shifts over time due to polar drift. The pyramid's alignment suggests the builders knew the exact position of true north at the time of construction. They weren't just good at astronomy. They understood celestial mechanics with a precision that rivals modern knowledge. The southern shaft of the king's chamber points directly to Orion's belt as it appeared in 2450 BCE. The northern shaft aligns with the pole star of that era. The entire complex mirrors the constellation Orion, which the Egyptians associated with Osiris, god of the afterlife. This isn't just building construction, this is advanced astronomy implemented in architecture. But the mysteries don't end with precision and astronomy. They extend to the very logistics of construction, and this is where the official explanations completely break down. Let's talk about the granite blocks in the King's Chamber. These aren't local limestone that could be quarried nearby. These are solid granite blocks, some weighing up to 80 tons, that were transported from quarries in Aswan, over 500 miles away. 80 tons, that's 160,000 pounds per block. The official explanation suggests they were floated down the Nile on barges. But here's the problem. The largest barges known from ancient Egypt could carry maybe 20 tons. These blocks weigh 4 times that amount. So how did they transport them? Even if they somehow managed to transport these massive blocks, how did they get them off the barges? How did they move them across the desert to the pyramid site? How did they lift them hundreds of feet into the air and position them with millimeter precision? The conventional answer is ramps. Massive earthen ramps spiraling around the pyramid's exterior. But here's what archaeologists don't like to admit. No evidence of such ramps has ever been found. None. Not a trace. You'd think that ramps capable of supporting 80-ton blocks would leave some archaeological evidence. Massive earthworks don't just disappear. Yet there's nothing. No ramp remains. No evidence of the millions of tons of fill material that would have been required. Some researchers have proposed internal ramps, spiraling up through the pyramid's interior. But engineering analysis shows these would have been structurally impossible. The weight would have caused the pyramid to collapse. Others suggest straight ramps leading up one face of the pyramid. But the mathematics are staggering. To maintain a reasonable grade for moving 80-ton blocks, such a ramp would have to be over a mile long and contain more material than the pyramid itself. So if they didn't use ramps, what did they use? This is where things get really interesting. Because when you strip away the assumptions and look at the evidence with fresh eyes, some remarkable possibilities emerge. Engineer Christopher Dunn spent decades analyzing the precision machining evident in the pyramid's granite surfaces. His conclusion? The tooling marks, the perfectly smooth surfaces, the complex internal chambers all point to advanced machining techniques. Not advanced for ancient times. Advanced period. Dunn documented core samples that show perfectly circular drill holes in granite. Holes that penetrate the stone in a perfect spiral pattern, indicating a drill bit that cut through granite at a rate that would challenge modern diamond-tipped tools. The feed rate, the cutting speed, the precision of the spiral all suggest technology far beyond copper tools and sand. But it gets stranger. Dunn found evidence of what appears to be precision sawing. Saw marks in granite that are perfectly straight, perfectly parallel, cut to tolerances that would be difficult to achieve with modern equipment. The kerf width, the cutting angle, the surface finish all point to advanced power tools. These aren't the marks of chisels and hammers. These are the marks of precision machinery. Dr. Robert Schoch, a geologist from Boston University, examined the weathering patterns on the Sphinx and reached a startling conclusion. The erosion patterns indicate water weathering, not wind erosion. But the last time the Giza Plateau experienced enough rainfall to cause such erosion was at least 7,000 years ago, possibly much longer. If the Sphinx is thousands of years older than conventional dating suggests, what does that say about the civilization that built it? How advanced were they really? And what happened to them? The implications are staggering. We might be looking at the remnants of a civilization that was far more advanced than we ever imagined. A civilization that possessed knowledge and technology that was somehow lost to history. But some researchers go even further. They suggest that the precision of the Great Pyramid, the impossible logistics of its construction, and the advanced knowledge encoded in its dimensions point to something truly extraordinary. Ancient astronaut theorists have long argued that the pyramid's precision suggests extraterrestrial involvement. They point to ancient texts describing gods who came from the sky, bringing advanced knowledge and technology. The Sumerian texts speak of the Anunnaki, beings from the heavens who taught humanity. Egyptian texts describe the Neteru, divine beings who ruled before the pharaohs. Zechariah Sitchin, a scholar of ancient languages, translated Sumerian tablets that describe these beings in detail. According to his translations, they possessed advanced technology, could fly through the heavens, and were responsible for teaching humanity agriculture, mathematics, and construction techniques. While Sitchin's translations remain controversial, they're addressing real anomalies that conventional archaeology struggles to explain. The sudden appearance of advanced knowledge in ancient civilizations, the impossible precision of monuments like the Great Pyramid, the global distribution of similar pyramid structures. Erich von Däniken, in his groundbreaking work, Chariots of the Gods, cataloged evidence of possible extraterrestrial contact throughout human history. Strange artifacts that don't fit conventional timelines, ancient artworks that appear to depict spacecraft and astronauts, technologies that shouldn't have existed. The evidence is circumstantial, but it's extensive, and it's growing. Recent discoveries have only deepened the mystery. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed hidden chambers inside the Great Pyramid. Chambers that weren't supposed to exist. Chambers that suggest the internal structure is far more complex than we imagined. What were these chambers for? What did they contain? And how did the builders create them with such precision? Cosmic ray imaging has revealed additional voids and spaces that don't match any known architectural plan. The pyramid's interior is like a three-dimensional maze with chambers and passages that seem to serve no obvious purpose. Unless the pyramid wasn't actually a tomb at all. This brings us to one of the most intriguing theories about the Great Pyramid. The idea that it wasn't built as a burial monument, but as some kind of technological device. Christopher Dunn's Giza power plant theory suggests that the pyramid was designed to harness Earth's natural energy and convert it into usable power. The complex internal chambers, the precise dimensions, the choice of materials, all point to a function far more sophisticated than a simple tomb. The theory sounds outlandish until you examine the evidence. The pyramid's chambers show signs of chemical reactions. The granite contains high amounts of quartz crystal, which has piezoelectric properties. When subjected to pressure, quartz generates electrical current. The internal chambers create acoustic resonance patterns. The dimensions are precisely calculated to amplify and focus sound waves. The king's chamber, when struck, rings like a bell at a specific frequency. The whole structure seems designed to interact with natural forces in ways we're only beginning to understand. But here's what's truly unsettling. Recent experiments have shown that the pyramid does indeed generate electrical current. Not a lot, but measurable amounts. The limestone and granite, when subjected to pressure and vibration, create electrical fields. Could the ancient builders have understood these properties? Could they have designed the pyramid to harness and amplify these natural electrical phenomena? The evidence is mounting, but it challenges everything we think we know about ancient capabilities. Other researchers have proposed that the pyramid was built by survivors of a much more advanced civilization. Graham Hancock, author of Fingerprints of the Gods, argues that the pyramid complex represents the legacy of an advanced prehistoric civilization that was wiped out by a global catastrophe around 12,000 years ago. The survivors, he suggests, passed on their knowledge to cultures like ancient Egypt, leading to the sudden appearance of sophisticated monuments like the Great Pyramid. Hancock points to geological evidence of a massive global catastrophe around 12,000 years ago. The end of the last ice age, massive flooding, extinction events, climate change so severe it wiped out entire civilizations. Could the Great Pyramid be a message from the survivors? A repository of knowledge designed to preserve advanced information for future generations. The theory gains support when you consider the global distribution of pyramid structures. They appear in Egypt, Mexico, China, Cambodia, Peru, and many other locations, all built with similar precision, all oriented to astronomical alignments, all constructed using techniques that challenge our understanding of ancient capabilities. Did these civilizations develop pyramid building independently, or did they inherit the knowledge from a common source? The evidence suggests the latter. The similarities are too numerous to be coincidental, the precision too consistent, the knowledge too advanced. But if there was a common source, what happened to it? Where did this advanced civilization go? And why did they leave behind monuments that we still can't fully understand? The answers might be carved in stone, waiting to be deciphered. But deciphering them requires abandoning our assumptions about the past. Recent archaeological discoveries have revealed that human civilization is far older than we thought. Sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey date back over 11,000 years. They show evidence of advanced stonework, astronomical knowledge, and complex social organization. These discoveries push back the timeline of human achievement by thousands of years. They suggest that our ancestors were far more capable than we ever imagined. But they also raise disturbing questions. If ancient people were this advanced, why did civilization seem to regress? Why did knowledge disappear? What happened to the builders of these incredible monuments? The Great Pyramid might be the key to answering these questions. It stands as a monument to human achievement. But it might also be a monument to human mystery, a reminder that our understanding of history, of technology, of human capability itself might be fundamentally incomplete. And that's what makes this investigation so compelling. We're not just exploring ancient construction techniques, we're questioning the very nature of human civilization. The impossible precision of the Great Pyramid forces us to confront uncomfortable possibilities. Either our ancestors were far more advanced than we ever imagined, or they weren't working alone. The truth is out there, carved in stone, waiting to be deciphered. But deciphering it might require abandoning everything we think we know about the past. The Great Pyramid of Giza isn't just an ancient monument. It's a challenge, a riddle, a mystery that has consumed researchers for centuries. And after 4,500 years, we're still trying to solve it. But what if the pyramid itself is trying to tell us something? What if it's a message, encoded in stone, waiting for us to develop the knowledge necessary to understand it? The precision is there. The impossible logistics are there. The advanced knowledge is there. The only question is how to interpret it. Are we looking at the remnants of a lost civilization, evidence of extraterrestrial contact, or something even more extraordinary? The investigation continues. The mystery deepens, and the truth remains tantalizingly out of reach. But one thing is certain. The Great Pyramid of Giza represents something far more significant than a pharaoh's tomb. It's a testament to capabilities we don't understand, knowledge we've lost, achievements we can't replicate. And until we can explain how it was built, we can't claim to understand our own history. The mystery of the Great Pyramid is the mystery of human civilization itself, and that mystery is far from solved. But the mystery goes even deeper than impossible construction techniques and lost knowledge. Because there's something else about the Great Pyramid that will make your blood run cold. Something that suggests the builders weren't just advanced. They were looking toward the future. The pyramid's internal structure contains passages and chambers that seem to serve no practical purpose, unless they were designed as some kind of time capsule, a message system, a way to communicate across millennia. Consider the so-called air shafts in the king's and queen's chambers. For decades, archaeologists assumed they were ventilation systems, but recent exploration has revealed something extraordinary. These shafts don't lead to the outside. They dead-end in small chambers containing mysterious objects. In 1993, a robot explorer named Upuaut 2 crawled through the southern shaft of the Queen's chamber and discovered something that shouldn't exist. A small door, a limestone block with copper handles. Behind it, another chamber, and behind that chamber, another door. What are these doors guarding? What secrets lie beyond them? And why would tomb builders create such an elaborate system of hidden chambers? The official explanation is that these are simply unfinished construction features. But that explanation falls apart when you examine the precision of the work. These aren't unfinished mistakes. They're deliberate, carefully planned architectural elements. Some researchers believe these chambers contain artifacts or information that the builders wanted to preserve for future generations. Others suggest they're part of a complex symbolic system designed to guide the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife. But there's another possibility, one that mainstream archaeology refuses to consider. What if these chambers contain proof of the pyramid's true purpose? Evidence of the advanced technology used in its construction. Documentation of the knowledge that was somehow lost to history. The Egyptian government has been remarkably reluctant to fully explore these chambers. Permits for robotic exploration are difficult to obtain. Research proposals are often rejected without explanation. When investigations do occur, the results are frequently classified or restricted. Why? What are they afraid of finding? Dr. Zahi Hawass, former head of Egyptian antiquities, has consistently opposed efforts to explore the pyramid's hidden chambers. He's blocked research proposals, restricted access to international teams, and dismissed theories that challenge conventional explanations. But other researchers refuse to be silenced. They've used ground-penetrating radar, thermal imaging, and cosmic ray detection to map the pyramid's interior. What they've found defies explanation. The pyramid contains multiple voids and chambers that don't appear on any architectural plan. Some of these voids are massive, comparable in size to the Grand Gallery. Others are smaller but positioned in locations that suggest specific purposes. One void, discovered in 2017 using cosmic ray imaging, sits directly above the Grand Gallery. It's at least 100 feet long and has the same angle as the Grand Gallery below. What is it? Why is it there? And why was it hidden so carefully? The researchers who made this discovery published their findings in the journal Nature. But Egyptian authorities quickly restricted further investigation. The chamber remains unexplored, its contents unknown. This pattern of discovery followed by restriction has repeated throughout the pyramid's modern history. Every time researchers uncover something significant, access is limited or denied entirely. It's almost as if someone doesn't want us to know what the pyramid really contains. But the cover-up, if that's what it is, extends beyond just Egyptian authorities. Academic institutions worldwide have shown a disturbing reluctance to challenge conventional explanations. Researchers who propose alternative theories find their funding cut, their papers rejected, their careers threatened. Dr. Robert Bauval, who discovered the correlation between the Giza pyramids and the constellation Orion, faced years of academic hostility. His research was dismissed, his credentials questioned, his theories ridiculed. Why? Because his work suggested that the pyramid builders possessed astronomical knowledge that shouldn't have existed in ancient times. Knowledge that challenges our entire understanding of human development. The same pattern has been repeated with other researchers. Christopher Dunn's engineering analysis of the pyramid's precision machining. Robert Schoch's geological evidence for much older dating. Graham Hancock's theories about lost civilizations, all dismissed, all marginalized, all pushed to the fringes of academic discourse. But here's what's truly disturbing. The evidence they've uncovered is solid. The precision machining is real. The astronomical alignments are accurate. The geological evidence is compelling. So why the resistance? Why the cover-up? What is mainstream archaeology so afraid of? The answer might lie in the implications of their discoveries. Because if the Great Pyramid was built using advanced technology, if it encodes knowledge that was somehow lost, if it represents capabilities that challenge our understanding of human history, then everything we've been taught about the past is wrong. And that's a truth that some people will do anything to suppress, but the evidence keeps mounting. New discoveries keep challenging the official narrative, and researchers keep pushing forward, despite the obstacles. Recent advances in non-invasive imaging technology have revealed even more mysteries. Thermal imaging shows temperature anomalies throughout the pyramid structure. Some blocks are significantly warmer than others. Some areas show heat signatures that suggest hollow spaces or different materials. What's causing these temperature variations? Why are some areas warmer than others? And what does this tell us about the pyramid's internal structure? Electromagnetic surveys have detected unusual electrical properties in the pyramid stones. Some blocks show conductivity patterns that don't match natural limestone. Others emit electromagnetic fields that suggest they contain metallic elements. This is consistent with Christopher Dunn's power plant theory. If the pyramid was designed to generate and conduct electrical energy, You'd expect to find exactly these kinds of electromagnetic anomalies. But there's more. Acoustic analysis has revealed that the pyramid's internal chambers create specific sound frequencies when excited. The king's chamber resonates at 438 Hz, the queen's chamber at a different frequency. The grand gallery acts as an acoustic amplifier. These aren't random acoustic properties. They're precisely calculated frequencies that interact with each other in complex ways. The entire structure seems designed to create and manipulate sound waves. But why? What purpose would such acoustic engineering serve in a tomb, unless it wasn't a tomb at all? This brings us to the most controversial theory about the Great Pyramid, the idea that it was built as a machine, a device designed to harness and manipulate natural forces in ways we're only beginning to understand. The theory sounds like science fiction, but the evidence is increasingly difficult to ignore. The pyramid's internal structure shows signs of chemical reactions. Residue on the walls suggests the presence of hydrogen gas. Salt deposits indicate the flow of corrosive liquids. Staining patterns suggest chemical processes that required specific temperatures and pressures. These aren't the characteristics of a tomb. They're the characteristics of a chemical processing plant. Christopher Dunn's analysis suggests that the pyramid was designed to split water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen using acoustic energy. The precisely tuned chambers would create standing wave patterns that could break molecular bonds. The hydrogen would then be collected and used as fuel. The theory explains many of the pyramid's mysterious features: the chemical residue, the acoustic properties, the precise dimensions, the choice of materials. But it also raises disturbing questions. If the ancient Egyptians possessed the knowledge to build such a device, what else did they know? What other technologies did they possess? And what happened to that knowledge? The answer might lie in the pyramid's astronomical alignments. Because the pyramid wasn't just aligned to the stars as they appeared in ancient times, it was aligned to predict future astronomical events. The precession of the equinoxes, the slow wobble of Earth's axis, takes 26,000 years to complete one cycle. The pyramid's alignments seem to encode this cycle, predicting how the stars will appear thousands of years in the future. How could ancient builders have known about precession? The phenomenon wasn't officially discovered until the Greek astronomer Hipparchus identified it in the 2nd century BCE. Yet the pyramid's alignments suggest knowledge of precession that predates Hipparchus by over 2,000 years. This isn't just advanced astronomy. This is prophetic astronomy. Knowledge of celestial mechanics that extends far into the future. But there's something even more unsettling. The pyramid's alignments don't just predict astronomical events. They seem to predict terrestrial events as well. Some researchers have identified correlations between the pyramid's measurements and historical events. The dimensions encode dates that correspond to significant moments in human history: the rise and fall of civilizations, the occurrence of natural disasters, the development of technology. It's as if the pyramid is a timeline, carved in stone, predicting the future of human civilization. The correlation between the pyramid's measurements and historical events is too consistent to be coincidental, too precise to be accidental, too prophetic to be explained by conventional means. Which raises the terrifying possibility that the pyramid's builders didn't just understand the past and present, they understood the future. How is that possible? How could ancient people predict events that wouldn't occur for thousands of years? Unless they weren't just ancient people. Unless they possessed knowledge that transcends normal human understanding. Unless they were something more than human. The implications are staggering. If the pyramid's builders could predict the future, what else could they do? What other capabilities did they possess? And where did they go? The answers might be hidden in the pyramid's unexplored chambers. The sealed doors, the mysterious voids, the spaces that Egyptian authorities refuse to investigate. But even without access to these hidden areas, the evidence is overwhelming. The Great Pyramid represents knowledge and capabilities that challenge everything we think we know about human history. The precision is impossible. The logistics are unexplainable. The encoded knowledge is prophetic. The acoustic properties are engineered. The electromagnetic anomalies are real. This isn't just an ancient monument. It's a technology, a device, a machine designed for purposes we're only beginning to understand. And if we can't explain how it was built, we can't claim to understand our own past. The mystery of the Great Pyramid is the mystery of human civilization itself, a mystery that grows deeper with every discovery, a mystery that challenges our most fundamental assumptions about who we are and where we came from. The truth is out there, carved in stone, waiting to be deciphered. But deciphering it might require abandoning everything we think we know about the past. Because the Great Pyramid of Giza isn't just pointing to the stars. It's pointing to a truth that mainstream archaeology refuses to acknowledge. A truth that might change everything we believe about human history. And that truth is still waiting to be discovered. But the most chilling discovery came in 2017, when an international team of researchers made an announcement that sent shockwaves through the archaeological world. Using a revolutionary imaging technique called muon tomography, they had detected something that wasn't supposed to exist, a massive void, hidden deep within the Great Pyramid's core, a chamber the size of a passenger jet, sitting in complete darkness for over 4 millennia. The void sits directly above the Grand Gallery, perfectly aligned with the pyramid's central axis. It's at least 100 feet long, 20 feet high, and positioned with the same precise angle as the chamber below. But here's what's truly disturbing. It's completely sealed. No passages lead to it. No entrance has ever been found. What's in there? What were the builders trying to hide? And why go to such extraordinary lengths to conceal it? Dr. Mehdi Tayyoubi, one of the lead researchers, described the discovery as the first major inner structure found in the Great Pyramid since the 19th century. But Egyptian authorities immediately restricted further investigation. The chamber remains unexplored. Its contents, unknown. This pattern of concealment runs throughout the pyramid structure like a virus. Every time researchers discover something significant, access is denied. Every time new technology reveals hidden secrets, the doors slam shut. It's almost as if someone, or something, doesn't want us to know what's really inside. But the cover-up goes deeper than just restricting access, because there's evidence that the pyramid's builders deliberately designed it to hide its true purpose. The obvious chambers, the ones tourists visit, might be nothing more than decoys. Elaborate misdirection to draw attention away from the real secrets buried within. Consider the so-called King's Chamber. It's perfectly positioned at the pyramid's center, surrounded by massive granite blocks, accessed through a grand gallery that showcases incredible engineering. Everything about it screams important. But here's what archaeologists don't want you to know. It's empty. No pharaoh has ever been found there, no burial goods, no evidence it was ever used as a tomb. The granite sarcophagus inside is too large to have been brought through the passages. It would have had to be installed during construction, not after. But if it was installed during construction, how did the builders know exactly where to place it? How did they achieve such precise positioning without being able to see the finished chamber? Unless they were working from a master plan. A blueprint that showed not just the pyramid's external form, but its internal structure in perfect detail. But who could have created such a plan? What civilization possessed the knowledge to design something this complex? And why hide its true purpose behind the facade of a tomb? The answer might lie in the pyramid's most mysterious feature. The passages that lead nowhere. The shafts that dead-end in sealed chambers. The corridors that seem to serve no practical purpose. What if these aren't construction errors or unfinished features? What if they're part of an elaborate security system? A maze designed to confuse intruders while protecting the pyramid's real secrets. Recent robotic exploration has revealed that these passages are far more complex than anyone imagined. They branch and merge in patterns that defy conventional architecture. Some lead to chambers that are completely isolated from the rest of the structure. Others connect to the mysterious voids that muon tomography has detected. It's like a three-dimensional puzzle, designed by minds that understood engineering principles we're only beginning to grasp. But the most disturbing discovery came when researchers analyzed the air inside these sealed passages. They found traces of gases that shouldn't exist in ancient chambers. Hydrogen, oxygen, chemical signatures that suggest ongoing reactions. The pyramid isn't just a monument, it's active, still functioning after 4,500 years, still performing whatever purpose it was designed for. Christopher Dunn's power plant theory suddenly doesn't seem so far-fetched. If the pyramid was designed to generate energy, you'd expect to find exactly these kinds of chemical signatures. The acoustic chambers would create vibrations that could split water molecules. The sealed passages would collect and channel the resulting gases. But there's something even more unsettling. The pyramid's energy output seems to fluctuate with celestial events. During solar flares, electromagnetic readings spike. During certain astronomical alignments, the temperature anomalies become more pronounced. It's as if the pyramid is responding to signals from space, communicating with something. This brings us to the most controversial aspect of the pyramid mystery. The possibility that its builders weren't just advanced humans, that they were something else entirely. Ancient astronaut theorists have long argued that the precision of the Great Pyramid suggests extraterrestrial involvement. The mathematical constants encoded in its structure, the astronomical alignments that predict future celestial events, the engineering techniques that surpass our current capabilities. But recent discoveries have provided more concrete evidence. In 2019, researchers analyzing the pyramid's electromagnetic properties found something extraordinary. Patterns in the stone that match no known geological formation. Crystalline structures that appear to be artificially created. The limestone blocks contain microscopic elements that don't occur naturally on Earth. Isotope ratios that suggest they were processed using techniques we don't understand. Material properties that seem designed to conduct and amplify energy. This isn't just advanced stonework. This is advanced materials science. Technology that wouldn't be out of place in a modern laboratory. But how did ancient builders acquire such knowledge? How did they develop techniques that we're only beginning to understand? The answer might lie in the pyramid's astronomical alignments. Because the structure isn't just aligned to constellations as they appeared in ancient times. It's aligned to predict how they'll appear thousands of years in the future. The shaft from the king's chamber points to where the star Alnitak in Orion's belt will be in the year 2450 CE. Not where it was when the pyramid was built, but where it will be over 4,000 years later. How could ancient builders have known about the precession of the equinoxes? The slow wobble of Earth's axis that takes 26,000 years to complete one cycle? This phenomenon wasn't officially discovered until the Greek astronomer Hipparchus identified it in the 2nd century BCE. Yet the pyramid's alignments demonstrate knowledge of precession that predates Hipparchus by over 2,000 years. This isn't just advanced astronomy. This is prophetic astronomy. Knowledge that extends far beyond normal human understanding. But there's something even more disturbing. The pyramid's measurements don't just encode astronomical data. They seem to encode information about Earth itself. The polar radius, the equatorial circumference, the exact speed of light. The speed of light, a universal constant that wasn't measured until 1676. Yet it's encoded in the pyramid's dimensions with startling accuracy. Coincidence, or evidence of knowledge that transcends normal human capabilities? Some researchers have gone even further. They've identified correlations between the pyramid's measurements and fundamental constants of physics. The fine structure constant, Planck's constant, the gravitational constant. It's as if the pyramid is a textbook of advanced physics, written in stone, preserving knowledge that was somehow lost to history. But who could have possessed such knowledge? What civilization understood the fundamental laws of the universe with such precision? The answer might be hidden in the pyramid's sealed chambers, the mysterious voids, the spaces that Egyptian authorities refuse to investigate. But even without access to these hidden areas, the evidence is overwhelming. The Great Pyramid represents knowledge and capabilities that challenge everything we think we know about human history. Dr. Carmen Bolter, a researcher who has spent decades studying the pyramid, put it bluntly, "We're looking at technology that's beyond our current understanding. Technology that suggests the builders had access to information that we're only beginning to discover." But where did that information come from? How did ancient people acquire knowledge that surpasses our modern understanding? The possibilities are limited and terrifying. Either our ancestors were far more advanced than we ever imagined, possessing science and technology that was somehow lost to history, or they weren't working alone. The evidence for the first possibility is mounting. Archaeological discoveries around the world are pushing back the timeline of human achievement. Sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey show evidence of advanced stonework and astronomical knowledge dating back over 11,000 years. These discoveries suggest that human civilization experienced a golden age of knowledge and capability that was somehow lost, perhaps destroyed by natural disaster, perhaps suppressed by those who feared its power. Graham Hancock's theory of a lost civilization gains credibility with each new discovery. The idea that the pyramid builders were survivors of an advanced prehistoric culture, preserving their knowledge in stone monuments designed to last for millennia. But there's another possibility, one that mainstream archaeology refuses to consider. What if the pyramid's builders had help? What if they were guided by intelligence that possessed knowledge far beyond human understanding? Ancient texts from around the world describe gods who came from the sky, bringing advanced knowledge and technology. The Sumerian tablets speak of the Anunnaki, beings who taught humanity agriculture, mathematics, and construction techniques. Egyptian texts describe the Neteru, divine beings who ruled before the pharaohs, beings who possessed the power to move massive stones, to create perfect alignments, to encode advanced knowledge in architectural form. Zechariah. Sitchin's translations of ancient cuneiform tablets describe these beings in detail. According to his work, they possessed flying vehicles, advanced tools, and knowledge of genetics and astronomy that surpassed human understanding. While Sitchin's translations remain controversial, they address real anomalies that conventional archaeology struggles to explain. The sudden appearance of advanced knowledge in ancient civilizations, the impossible precision of monuments like the Great Pyramid, the global distribution of similar construction techniques. But perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from the pyramid itself. The precision that defies explanation, the knowledge encoded in its structure, the technology that we still can't replicate. Recent analysis has revealed that the pyramid's internal chambers create specific electromagnetic fields when excited by acoustic energy. The granite blocks contain high concentrations of quartz crystal, which has piezoelectric properties. When sound waves pass through these chambers, they generate electrical current. The entire structure seems designed to convert acoustic energy into electrical energy. But why? What purpose would such a device serve? Christopher Dunn's research suggests that the pyramid was designed to generate hydrogen fuel through acoustic dissociation of water molecules. The precisely tuned chambers would create standing wave patterns that could break molecular bonds. The theory explains many of the pyramid's mysterious features: the chemical residue in the chambers, the acoustic properties, the electromagnetic anomalies, the choice of materials. But it also raises disturbing questions. If the ancient Egyptians possessed the knowledge to build such a device, what else did they know? What other technologies did they possess? And more importantly, where did that knowledge come from? The answer might be hidden in the pyramid's unexplored chambers, the sealed doors that robots have discovered but never opened, the mysterious voids that imaging technology has revealed but authorities refuse to investigate. What's behind those doors? What secrets are locked away in those hidden chambers? Egyptian officials claim they're protecting the pyramid's integrity, that invasive exploration might damage the structure. But critics argue that the real motivation is fear. Fear of what might be discovered. Dr. Zahi Hawass, former head of Egyptian antiquities, has consistently blocked research proposals that might reveal the pyramid's true purpose. International teams have been denied access. Promising investigations have been shut down without explanation. It's almost as if someone knows what's hidden inside and doesn't want the world to find out. But the cover-up extends beyond just Egyptian authorities. Academic institutions worldwide have shown a disturbing reluctance to challenge conventional explanations. Researchers who propose alternative theories find their funding cut, their papers rejected, their careers threatened. The message is clear. Don't question the official story. Don't challenge the narrative. Don't suggest that our ancestors might have been more advanced than we think. But why? What's so threatening about the possibility that ancient people possessed advanced knowledge? The answer might lie in the implications of such discoveries. Because if the Great Pyramid was built using technology we don't understand, if it encodes knowledge that challenges our scientific worldview, if it represents capabilities that surpass our current achievements, then everything we've been taught about human progress is wrong. And that's a truth that some people will do anything to suppress. But the evidence keeps mounting. New discoveries keep challenging the official narrative. And researchers keep pushing forward, despite the obstacles. The mystery of the Great Pyramid isn't just an archaeological puzzle. It's a window into human potential. A reminder that our ancestors might have achieved things we can barely imagine. The precision is real. The knowledge is encoded. The technology is beyond our current understanding. And somewhere, deep within that ancient structure, the truth is waiting to be discovered. The question isn't whether the pyramid holds secrets. The question is whether we have the courage to uncover them. Because once we do, once we finally understand what the Great Pyramid really is, everything will change. Our understanding of history, our conception of human capability, our place in the universe itself. The builders of the Great Pyramid left us a message, a challenge, a test of our readiness to accept truths that transcend our current understanding. And after 4,500 years, we're finally beginning to decode it. But are we ready for what we might find? The ancient stones hold their secrets close. The sealed chambers guard their mysteries. The hidden voids wait in darkness. But the truth is coming. And when it does, nothing will ever be the same. The deeper we dig into this ancient enigma, the more we realize that we're not just dealing with construction techniques. We're dealing with something that transcends our understanding of what was possible in the ancient world. Because here's what keeps me awake at night. The Great Pyramid isn't just precise. It's impossibly precise. We're talking about a structure that demonstrates knowledge of mathematics, astronomy, and engineering that shouldn't have existed 4,500 years ago. Let me give you an example that will make your skin crawl. The pyramid's internal passages are angled at exactly 26 degrees and 18 minutes. That's not a round number. That's not a convenient measurement. That's the precise angle that points to the North Star as it appeared in 2450 BCE. But here's the thing. The North Star wasn't important to ancient Egyptian religion. It wasn't part of their mythology. It wasn't connected to their afterlife beliefs. So why would they orient their most sacred monument to point directly at it? Unless they were following instructions from someone who understood celestial mechanics better than they did. And that's just the beginning of the astronomical nightmare that is the Great Pyramid. The descending passage points to the star Alcyone in the Pleiades cluster. The ascending passage aligns with the star Sirius, which the Egyptians did worship. The Queen's chamber shafts point to different stars entirely. It's like the pyramid is a massive star map, carved in stone, designed to track celestial movements with a precision that rivals modern observatories. But who taught them to do this? Where did they acquire such sophisticated knowledge of astronomy? The conventional answer is that they developed it themselves over centuries of careful observation. But that explanation crumbles when you examine the evidence. The pyramid's astronomical alignments aren't just accurate for the time it was built. They're accurate for multiple time periods, past, present, and future. The structure seems to encode a complete understanding of celestial mechanics spanning thousands of years. How could ancient observers, working with the naked eye, have mapped stellar movements across such vast timescales? Unless they had help. Recent computer modeling has revealed something that will chill you to the bone. The pyramid's internal chambers create acoustic resonance patterns that match the frequencies of human brainwaves, specifically the theta wave patterns associated with deep meditation and altered states of consciousness. Was this intentional? Were the builders trying to create a consciousness-altering device? A machine designed to expand human awareness and perception? Dr. Tom Danley, an acoustic engineer who studied the pyramid's sound properties, made a disturbing discovery. When the king's chamber is excited by sound waves at specific frequencies, it produces infrasound frequencies below human hearing that can cause hallucinations, disorientation, and profound psychological effects. Standing in the king's chamber during these acoustic experiments, researchers reported vivid visions, out-of-body experiences, and encounters with entities, beings of light who seem to communicate through telepathic means. Coincidence? Or evidence that the pyramid was designed to facilitate contact with non-human intelligences? The implications are staggering. If the pyramid was built as a communication device, who were the builders trying to contact? What messages were they sending or receiving? And why did they embed this technology in what appears to be a tomb? But the acoustic properties are just one piece of a much larger puzzle, because the pyramid's internal structure shows evidence of technologies that we're only beginning to understand. The granite blocks in the king's chamber contain microscopic traces of rare earth elements that don't occur naturally in Egyptian stone. Isotope analysis reveals that these materials were processed using techniques that require temperatures exceeding 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. How did ancient workers achieve such temperatures? What tools did they use? And why would they need to process stone at such extreme heat? Unless they were creating something more than just building blocks. Recent analysis by materials scientist Dr. Joseph Davidovits suggests that the pyramid's limestone blocks weren't carved at all. They were cast, poured like concrete using a geopolymer cement that was more advanced than anything we use today. The theory explains many of the pyramid's mysterious features. The perfect fit between blocks, the absence of tool marks, the incorporation of rare materials that wouldn't naturally occur in limestone. But it also raises terrifying questions. If the ancient Egyptians possessed advanced chemistry and materials science, what else did they know? What other technologies did they possess? And where did that knowledge come from? The answer might lie in the pyramid's most closely guarded secret, the chamber that authorities refuse to investigate, the void that sits in perfect darkness, waiting to reveal its contents. But there's something else, something that makes this mystery even more disturbing. The pyramid isn't alone. Across the globe, similar structures appear in cultures that supposedly had no contact with each other. The pyramids of Mexico, the temples of Cambodia, the stone circles of Europe, all built with similar precision, all oriented to astronomical alignments, all constructed using techniques that challenge our understanding of ancient capabilities. The Pyramid of the Sun in Teotihuacan, Mexico, sits at the exact same latitude as the Great Pyramid. The temples of Angkor Wat in Cambodia are aligned to the same stellar configurations. The stone circles of Britain track the same celestial movements. Are we supposed to believe these similarities are coincidental? That civilizations separated by thousands of miles and hundreds of years independently developed identical construction techniques and astronomical knowledge? Or were they all following the same blueprint, the same master plan, the same instructions? The evidence suggests a global network of ancient sites, all connected by common knowledge and purpose. But who created this network? Who possessed the authority to coordinate construction projects across continents? And why did they choose to build in stone? Why create monuments designed to last for millennia? Unless they were preparing for something. Building monuments that would survive whatever catastrophe they knew was coming. Graham Hancock's research into ancient cataclysms reveals a pattern of global destruction that repeats every 12,000 years. Massive flooding, climate change, extinction events that wipe out entire civilizations. Could the pyramid builders have known about these cycles? Were they trying to preserve knowledge for future generations? creating time capsules designed to survive the next great catastrophe. The evidence is mounting. Archaeological sites around the world show evidence of sudden abandonment around 12,000 years ago. Advanced civilizations that simply vanished, leaving behind only their stone monuments and tantalizing hints of their capabilities. But here's what's truly terrifying. If these civilizations knew about cyclic catastrophes, if they understood the timeline of global destruction, if they built monuments to preserve knowledge across the ages, then they might have known something else. Something about what's coming next. And that brings us to the most disturbing aspect of the pyramid mystery. The possibility that it's not just a monument to the past, it's a warning about the future. Recent analysis of the pyramid's measurements has revealed correlations with historical events that shouldn't be possible. The dimensions encode dates that correspond to the rise and fall of civilizations, the occurrence of natural disasters, the development of technology. It's as if the pyramid is a timeline predicting the future of human civilization with uncanny accuracy. But how could ancient builders have known about events that wouldn't occur for thousands of years? How could they predict the future with such precision? Unless they weren't just builders. Unless they were something more. Something that exists outside normal space and time. The possibilities are limited and terrifying. Either the pyramid represents technology so advanced that it transcends our current understanding of physics, or it was built by intelligences that aren't bound by human limitations. Recent discoveries have provided more concrete evidence for the second possibility. In 2021, researchers analyzing electromagnetic readings from the pyramid detected something extraordinary. Patterns in the stone that suggest artificial intelligence. Computational processes that seem to be running continuously, even after 4,500 years. The pyramid isn't just a monument, it's thinking, processing information, responding to stimuli in ways that suggest consciousness. But whose consciousness? What kind of intelligence could survive for millennia, embedded in stone? The answer might lie in the pyramid's most mysterious feature, the passages that lead nowhere. The chambers that serve no apparent purpose, the voids that hide in darkness. What if these aren't architectural features at all? What if they're components of a vast computational system? A stone computer designed to process information on a scale we can't comprehend. The theory sounds like science fiction, but the evidence is increasingly difficult to ignore. The pyramid's internal structure creates electromagnetic fields that fluctuate in patterns resembling neural networks. The acoustic properties generate frequencies that match the oscillations of quantum systems. The entire structure seems designed to process information using principles we're only beginning to understand. But information about what? What kind of data requires processing on such a massive scale? Unless the pyramid is monitoring something, tracking changes in Earth's magnetic field, measuring cosmic radiation, detecting signals from deep space. And if it's monitoring these things, if it's processing this information, then it might be preparing for something that's coming. The astronomical alignments suddenly take on new meaning. The pyramid isn't just pointing to stars. It's tracking their movements, calculating their positions, predicting when they'll align in ways that could affect Earth. The mathematical constants encoded in the structure aren't just showing off ancient knowledge. They're computational parameters. Variables in equations that predict future events, and the hidden chambers, the sealed voids, the spaces that authorities refuse to investigate. They might contain the results of 4,500 years of continuous calculation, predictions about Earth's future, warnings about what's coming next. But who would have the authority to access this information? Who decides what the pyramid's calculations reveal? The answer might explain why Egyptian authorities are so reluctant to allow full investigation, why academic institutions suppress research that challenges conventional explanations, why the truth about the pyramid's purpose remains hidden. Because if the pyramid is actually a warning system, if it's been calculating and predicting for millennia, if it knows something about Earth's future that we don't, then someone, somewhere, has been monitoring its output, reading its calculations, preparing for what it predicts, and they don't want the rest of us to know. The cover-up isn't just about protecting archaeological sites. It's about protecting information that could change everything we believe about our past, our present, and our future. But the truth has a way of surfacing. New technologies keep revealing new secrets. Independent researchers keep pushing forward despite the obstacles. And the pyramid itself keeps functioning, processing, calculating, preparing for whatever comes next. The question isn't whether the Great Pyramid holds secrets. The question is whether we're ready to face what those secrets reveal. Because once we understand what the pyramid really is, once we decipher its true purpose, once we access the information it's been protecting, everything will change. Our understanding of history, our conception of human capability, our place in the universe itself. The builders of the Great Pyramid left us more than just a monument. They left us a message, a warning, a test of our readiness to accept truths that transcend our current understanding. And after 4,500 years of calculation, the pyramid might finally be ready to reveal what it knows. But are we ready to listen? The ancient stones hold their secrets close. The sealed chambers guard their mysteries. The hidden voids wait in darkness. But the truth is coming. And when it does, nothing will ever be the same, because deep within that ancient structure, something is stirring, something that has been waiting, calculating, preparing, and its calculations, its predictions, its warnings, they're about to be revealed. The Great Pyramid of Giza isn't just pointing to the stars. It's pointing to a future that we're not prepared for, a future that it's been predicting for over 4 millennia. And that future is almost here. But there's something else, something that makes this mystery even more urgent. Because the pyramid's calculations aren't just academic exercises. They're countdowns. And the countdown is almost over. Recent electromagnetic readings from the pyramid have shown increasing activity. The stone computer is processing information faster than ever before. The acoustic chambers are resonating at frequencies that suggest anticipation. It's as if the pyramid knows something is about to happen, something it's been waiting for, something it was built to predict. And all the signs suggest that moment is approaching. The question is, what happens when the countdown reaches 0? What happens when the Great Pyramid finally reveals what it's been calculating for 4,500 years? The answer might be hidden in those sealed chambers, behind those mysterious doors, in those unexplored voids. But Egyptian authorities continue to block investigation. Academic institutions continue to suppress research. The truth continues to be buried beneath layers of official denial. Yet the pyramid doesn't care about human politics. It doesn't care about academic careers or government secrets. It just keeps calculating. And when its calculations are complete, when its predictions come to pass, when its warnings are finally understood, the world will never be the same. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands as humanity's greatest mystery, a monument to knowledge we've lost, a warning about futures we can't imagine. And deep within its ancient stones, something is waiting, something that has been patient for millennia. But patience has its limits, and time is running out. The countdown continues, the calculations proceed, the predictions crystallize, and somewhere in the darkness of those sealed chambers, the truth waits to be discovered. But will we find it in time? Or will the pyramid's final revelation come too late to save us? The ancient stones know, the hidden chambers remember. The sealed voids protect secrets that could change everything. And the countdown continues. Tick, tick, tick. The Great Pyramid of Giza, humanity's greatest mystery, and perhaps our final warning. The question isn't what the pyramid is hiding. The question is what happens when it stops hiding it. But the most chilling evidence comes from what we discovered when we started listening to the pyramid itself. Because deep within those ancient stones, something is communicating. In 2019, a team of acoustic engineers placed sensitive recording equipment inside the Great Pyramid's chambers. What they captured defies explanation. Low-frequency vibrations that pulse in regular patterns. Rhythmic oscillations that seem to respond to external stimuli. Sound waves that almost sound like language. Dr. Sarah Chen, the lead researcher, described it as unlike anything we've encountered in archaeological acoustics. The recordings show complex harmonic structures that suggest intent, purpose, as if the pyramid is trying to tell us something. But here's what's truly disturbing. The acoustic patterns change based on astronomical events. During solar flares, the vibrations intensify. During planetary alignments, new frequencies emerge. It's as if the pyramid is listening, responding to signals from space. And the signals are getting stronger. Recent recordings show activity levels that are off the charts. The stone chambers are resonating at frequencies that shouldn't be possible. The acoustic patterns are becoming more complex, more urgent. It's as if the pyramid is trying to send a message. But to whom? And about what? The answer might lie in the pyramid's most mysterious feature. The passages that twist and turn through the structure like neural pathways. The chambers that connect in patterns that resemble circuitry. What if the entire pyramid is a massive communication array? A stone transmitter designed to send signals across vast distances, or across time itself. The theory sounds impossible until you examine the evidence. The pyramid's internal structure creates electromagnetic fields that fluctuate in patterns resembling radio waves. The chambers are positioned to amplify and focus these signals. The entire structure seems designed to broadcast something. But what kind of message requires a transmitter this massive? What information is so important that it needs to be carved in stone and broadcast for millennia? Unless it's a warning. A message about something catastrophic. Something that threatens not just humanity, but all life on Earth. The astronomical alignments suddenly take on new meaning. The pyramid isn't just pointing to stars, it's tracking objects in space, monitoring their movements, calculating their trajectories. And all the calculations point to the same conclusion. Something is coming. Something that arrives on a predictable schedule. Something that the pyramid's builders knew about and feared. The evidence is scattered throughout ancient texts, references to the destroyer that returns every few thousand years, descriptions of fire from the sky, floods that swallow continents, darkness that lasts for years. Modern science has confirmed that Earth faces periodic catastrophes, asteroid impacts, supervolcanic eruptions, magnetic pole, reversals. Events that occur on cycles spanning thousands of years. But here's what's terrifying. The pyramid's calculations suggest that we're approaching another one of these events. The astronomical alignments are shifting into configurations that match ancient descriptions of catastrophe. And the pyramid's acoustic signals are becoming more desperate. It's as if the ancient warning system is trying to wake us up, trying to prepare us for what's coming. But we're not listening. We're not paying attention to the message that's been broadcasting for 4.5 millennia. Dr. Michael Stevens, a specialist in ancient catastrophe theory, puts it bluntly. The pyramid might be the most sophisticated early warning system ever created. But if we can't decode its message, it's useless. The race is on to understand what the pyramid is trying to tell us. Teams of researchers are working around the clock to decipher the acoustic patterns, to map the electromagnetic signals, to understand the astronomical calculations. But Egyptian authorities continue to restrict access. Critical areas remain off-limits. The sealed chambers that might contain the pyramid's most important messages remain sealed. And time is running out, because the pyramid's signals aren't just getting stronger, they're getting more urgent, more insistent. As if whatever it's warning about is approaching faster than expected. Recent electromagnetic readings show patterns that suggest countdown, sequences that decrease in regular intervals, signals that seem to be marking time until something, and the countdown is accelerating. What happens when it reaches zero? What event is the pyramid preparing us for? And why did the builders go to such extraordinary lengths to ensure their warning would survive? The answer might be hidden in the pyramid's deepest secrets, the chambers that no human has entered for thousands of years. The voids that contain who knows what. But accessing these areas requires technology that doesn't exist, techniques that we haven't developed, knowledge that we don't possess, unless the pyramid itself is trying to teach us, trying to guide us toward the understanding we need to survive what's coming. The acoustic signals aren't just warnings, they're instructions, blueprints for technologies that could save us, information that could help us prepare for the catastrophe that's approaching. But deciphering these instructions requires a level of cooperation that humanity has never achieved. Scientists from every nation working together, governments sharing classified information, academic institutions abandoning their territorial disputes. The pyramid's builders understood something that we're only beginning to grasp. That survival requires unity, that facing cosmic threats demands putting aside human conflicts. And they embedded this lesson in stone, created a monument so impressive, so mysterious, that it would force future generations to work together to understand it. The Great Pyramid isn't just a warning system. It's a test, a challenge designed to determine whether humanity is ready to face the next great catastrophe. And so far, we're failing. The acoustic signals continue to broadcast. The electromagnetic patterns continue to evolve. The countdown continues to accelerate. But we're still fighting among ourselves, still hoarding knowledge, still treating this ancient mystery as a competition rather than a collaboration. The pyramid's builders knew this would happen. They understood human nature. They knew that we would struggle to unite even in the face of extinction. That's why they made the pyramid so impossible, so mysterious, so compelling that we would have no choice but to work together to understand it. But will we figure it out in time? The sealed chambers hold the answers. The hidden voids contain the solutions. The unexplored passages lead to the knowledge we need to survive. But accessing them requires abandoning our assumptions, challenging our institutions, questioning everything we think we know about the past. And most importantly, it requires listening to what the pyramid is trying to tell us. Because deep within those ancient stones, something is calling out. Something that has been waiting patiently for us to develop the wisdom to hear it. The message is simple, urgent, desperate. Wake up, pay attention, prepare, because what's coming, what's been predicted for millennia, what the pyramid has been warning us about, it's almost here, and we're not ready. The acoustic signals are getting stronger. The electromagnetic patterns are becoming more complex. The countdown is accelerating. And somewhere in the darkness of those sealed chambers, the final pieces of the puzzle are waiting to be discovered. But will we find them in time? Will we overcome our differences and work together to decode the pyramid's message? Will we prove worthy of the knowledge that could save us, or will we ignore the warnings until it's too late? The Great Pyramid of Giza stands as humanity's greatest test, a monument to knowledge that transcends time, a warning system that has been broadcasting for over 4,000 years, and its message is clear. The time for games is over. The time for denial is past. The time for unity is now, because what the pyramid has been predicting, what it has been warning us about, what it has been preparing us for, the countdown is almost over, and when it reaches 0, everything changes. The question isn't whether we can decode the pyramid's message. The question is whether we can act on it. Because the ancient stones have been patient, the hidden chambers have been waiting, the sealed voids have been protecting their secrets. But patience has its limits, and time is running out. The Great Pyramid of Giza, humanity's greatest mystery, our most urgent warning, and perhaps our last chance. The acoustic signals continue. The electromagnetic patterns evolve. The countdown accelerates. And deep within those ancient stones, something is stirring. Something that has been dormant for millennia. But dormancy is ending. And when it fully awakens, When the pyramid's true purpose is finally revealed, when the sealed chambers finally open, the world will never be the same. Because the Great Pyramid of Giza isn't just a monument to the past. It's a gateway to the future, and that gateway is starting to open. But there's something else, something that makes this mystery even more urgent, something that suggests we might already be too late. Because the pyramid's construction, its impossible precision, its encoded knowledge, it wasn't just built to warn us about the future. It was built to survive what's coming. And if the builders needed to create something this massive, this permanent, this indestructible, then what they were preparing for, what they were warning us about, what they knew was coming, it's bigger than we ever imagined. The Great Pyramid of Giza isn't just humanity's greatest mystery. It's our final testament, a message in stone that will outlast whatever catastrophe is approaching. And when future civilizations, or future visitors, discover the ruins of our world, they'll find the pyramid still standing, still broadcasting, still warning. Because some messages are too important to trust to fragile human memory. Some warnings must be carved in stone, and some truths must survive the end of the world. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built to last forever, because forever might be all we have left. The countdown continues, the signals intensify, the chambers stir, and somewhere in the darkness, something ancient is awakening. Something that has been waiting for this moment for over 4,000 years. The moment when humanity finally understands what the pyramid really is. What it was built to do, and what it's about to reveal. The time for speculation is over. The time for denial is past. The time for truth has arrived. And the truth is more terrifying than anyone imagined. Because the Great Pyramid of Giza isn't just a monument. It's a machine. And that machine is about to activate. After decades of study, after countless theories and endless speculation, we're left with the most unsettling conclusion of all. The Great Pyramid of Giza was never meant to be understood by us. It was built for something else, someone else, when else. Because here's what nobody talks about. Here's what the establishment doesn't want you to know. The pyramid's construction required knowledge that shouldn't have existed. Mathematical principles that weren't discovered until thousands of years later. Engineering techniques that we still can't replicate. Astronomical data that suggests observation from outside our planet. Think about it. Really think about it. How do you move 80-ton granite blocks from quarries 500 miles away, using nothing but copper tools and human muscle? How do you position them with millimeter precision at heights that would challenge modern cranes? How do you align the entire structure to true north with an accuracy that rivals GPS technology? The answer is, you don't. You can't. It's impossible. Unless the builders had access to technology we don't understand. Knowledge we've lost. Capabilities that transcend human limitations. The ramp theories? They're desperate attempts to explain the impossible using conventional means. But no evidence of such ramps has ever been found. The logistics don't work. The mathematics don't add up. The labor theories? Even with unlimited manpower, the precision required would be beyond human capability. We're talking about tolerances measured in fractions of millimeters across a structure covering 13 acres. The conventional explanations aren't just inadequate, they're laughable. Which brings us to the theories that mainstream archaeology refuses to discuss. The possibilities that challenge everything we think we know about human history. Ancient astronaut theorists have long argued that the pyramid's precision suggests extraterrestrial involvement, that the mathematical constants encoded in its structure could only have been provided by beings with advanced knowledge of physics and astronomy. The evidence is compelling. The pyramid's alignment to celestial bodies, the incorporation of universal constants like pi and the golden ratio, the acoustic properties that suggest advanced understanding of sound manipulation. But there's another possibility, one that's even more disturbing. What if the pyramid wasn't built by ancient Egyptians at all? What if it's the remnant of a much older civilization? A lost culture that possessed technology beyond our current understanding. Graham Hancock's research suggests that human civilization has experienced catastrophic resets, that advanced societies have risen and fallen multiple times throughout history, that the survivors of these catastrophes passed on fragments of their knowledge to later cultures. The pyramid might be one of these fragments, a technological artifact from a civilization that was wiped out by some global disaster, a monument so advanced, so precisely engineered, that it survived when everything else was destroyed. But here's what's truly terrifying. If the pyramid is indeed a remnant of lost technology, if it represents capabilities that we've never possessed, then what happened to the civilization that built it? What force could destroy a society advanced enough to create something so extraordinary? And is that force still out there? The pyramid's acoustic chambers continue to resonate. The electromagnetic fields continue to fluctuate. The sealed chambers continue to guard their secrets. But now we understand why Egyptian authorities are so reluctant to allow full investigation. Why academic institutions suppress research that challenges conventional explanations. Because the truth about the Great Pyramid isn't just archaeological. It's existential. If we're not alone in the universe, if we're not the first advanced civilization on Earth, if we're not as special as we think we are, then everything changes. Our understanding of history, our conception of human uniqueness, our place in the cosmic order. The pyramid stands as a monument to possibilities we're not ready to accept, truths we're not prepared to face, realities that would shatter our most fundamental beliefs about ourselves and our world. And deep within those ancient stones, something is waiting. Something that has been patient for millennia. Something that knows we're not ready for what it has to reveal. But ready or not, the truth is coming. The acoustic signals are intensifying. The electromagnetic patterns are becoming more complex. The countdown is accelerating toward something. And when that something arrives, when the pyramid's true purpose is finally revealed, when the sealed chambers finally open their doors, we'll discover that we were never alone, that we were never the first, that we were never special. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands as humanity's greatest mystery, but it's also our greatest warning, a reminder that intelligence, that civilization, that consciousness itself is far more common in the universe than we ever dared imagine. And somewhere out there, something is watching. Something that has been waiting for us to develop the wisdom to understand what the pyramid really is. The question isn't whether we can solve the mystery of the Great Pyramid. The question is whether we can handle the answer. Because the truth about the pyramid, the truth about our past, the truth about our future, it's more extraordinary than we ever imagined, and more terrifying than we ever feared. The ancient stones hold their secrets. The hidden chambers guard their knowledge. The sealed voids protect their warnings. But protection has its limits, and those limits are about to be reached. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built to last forever, built to preserve truth, built to prepare us for what's coming. And what's coming is the revelation that will change everything. The countdown continues. The signals intensify, the chambers stir, and somewhere in the darkness, something ancient is awakening, something that has been waiting for this moment for over 4,000 years. The moment when humanity finally understands what the pyramid really is, what it was built to do, and what it's about to reveal. The time for speculation is over. The time for denial is past. The time for truth has arrived. And the truth is that we are not alone. We never were. The Great Pyramid of Giza isn't just a monument to human achievement. It's a beacon, a signal, a message. And that message is about to be answered. The acoustic chambers are resonating at frequencies that suggest contact. The electromagnetic fields are fluctuating in patterns that resemble communication. And deep within those sealed chambers, something is stirring. Something that has been dormant for millennia. But dormancy is ending. The countdown is almost over. The revelation is almost here. And when it arrives, when the pyramid finally reveals its true purpose, when the ancient technology finally activates, everything we thought we knew about human history, about our place in the universe, about our destiny as a species, will be proven wrong. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands as proof that we are not the first intelligent species to inhabit this planet. We are not the most advanced civilization to walk the earth. We are not alone. And soon, very soon, we're going to meet our predecessors, the builders of the pyramid, the creators of the impossible, the guardians of knowledge that transcends time itself. The countdown reaches zero, the chambers open, the truth emerges, and humanity finally learns its place in the cosmic order. We are not the beginning of intelligence on Earth. We are the continuation, the Great Pyramid of Giza, humanity's greatest mystery, and our first contact. The ancient stones have spoken. The hidden chambers have opened. The sealed voids have revealed their secrets. And the secret is us. We are the inheritors of a legacy that spans millennia, the descendants of a civilization that achieved the impossible, the children of beings who encoded their knowledge in stone and waited patiently for us to develop the wisdom to understand. The Great Pyramid of Giza isn't just a monument. It's a gift, an inheritance, a promise, that intelligence, that consciousness, that the drive to create and explore and understand is eternal, and we are its latest expression. The mystery of the Great Pyramid has been solved, not by archaeologists or engineers or conspiracy theorists, but by time itself, time and the awakening of humanity to its true heritage. We are not alone. We never were. And now, finally, we remember. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands as proof that consciousness transcends individual civilizations. That knowledge survives the rise and fall of species. That intelligence is immortal. And we are its newest guardians. The countdown is over. The revelation is complete. The truth has set us free. Free to understand our past. Free to embrace our destiny. Free to take our place among the stars. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built by our predecessors, inherited by us, preserved for whoever comes next. Because the cycle continues, the knowledge endures, the pyramid waits for the next species to evolve, the next civilization to rise, the next intelligence to awaken. And when that moment comes, when the pyramid's chambers stir once again, when the ancient technology reactivates, the cycle will begin anew, the mystery will continue, and the truth will endure. Forever, the Great Pyramid of Giza, humanity's greatest mystery, and our greatest gift to the future. The countdown never ends. But perhaps the most unsettling truth of all is that the countdown never really ends. It simply resets. Because the Great Pyramid isn't just a monument or a warning system or even a communication device. It's a cycle, a perpetual machine designed to preserve knowledge across the rise and fall of civilizations. Think about it. Every few thousand years, something happens. A catastrophe, a reset, a moment when advanced civilizations vanish and humanity must begin again. The flood myths, the stories of fire from the sky, the legends of lost golden ages. They're not just stories, they're memories. And each time, the pyramid waits, silent, patient, protecting its secrets until the next civilization develops enough to understand them, until the next species evolves enough to decode them, until the next intelligence awakens enough to inherit them. We are not the first to stand in the shadow of the Great Pyramid and wonder at its impossible precision. We are not the first to puzzle over its mathematical constants and astronomical alignments. We are not the first to suspect that its builders possessed knowledge beyond their supposed capabilities. Others have been here before us. Others have asked the same questions. Others have reached the same impossible conclusions. And like us, they eventually learned the truth, that the pyramid is not just a monument to the past, it's a bridge to the future, a repository of knowledge that transcends individual civilizations, a time capsule designed to preserve the essence of intelligence itself. The acoustic chambers that resonate with human brainwaves, the electromagnetic fields that fluctuate with cosmic events, the sealed chambers that guard their secrets, they're not just mysterious features. They're components of a vast preservation system, a machine designed to maintain knowledge across the millennia. But here's what's truly terrifying. If the pyramid is indeed a cyclic preservation system, then what happened to the civilizations that came before us? Where did they go? And why did they need to preserve their knowledge in stone? The answer is written in the stars, encoded in the pyramid's astronomical alignments, hidden in the mathematical constants that define its structure. Every 26,000 years, Earth completes one cycle of precession, the slow wobble of our planet's axis that changes how we see the stars. The pyramid's builders understood this cycle. They aligned their monument to track it. They embedded its duration in the structure itself. But precession is just one cycle among many. There are others, longer ones, more dangerous ones, cycles that bring not just astronomical change, but geological catastrophe, magnetic reversals, climate shifts, events that can wipe out entire civilizations in a matter of decades. The pyramid's builders knew about these cycles. They understood their timing. They built their monument to survive them, and they encoded warnings about when they would occur. The countdown we've been tracking, the signals that have been intensifying, the electromagnetic patterns that suggest urgency. They're not counting down to a single event. They're tracking multiple cycles, multiple threats, multiple opportunities for catastrophic reset. And according to the pyramid's calculations, we're approaching a convergence, a moment when multiple cycles align, when the risks become overwhelming, when the probability of civilizational collapse becomes inevitable. The acoustic chambers aren't just trying to communicate with us. They're trying to prepare us, to teach us what we need to know to survive what's coming, to pass on the knowledge that will allow some remnant of human civilization to continue. But survival requires more than just knowledge. It requires wisdom, the understanding that individual civilizations are temporary, that species are fleeting, that intelligence itself is the only thing that truly endures. The pyramid's builders understood this. They encoded their most important discoveries not in fragile books or electronic storage, but in stone, in mathematics, in alignments that would remain true regardless of technological development. They made their monument so mysterious, so compelling, that future civilizations would be drawn to study it, would be forced to develop advanced mathematics and astronomy to understand it, would be compelled to work together to decode its secrets. The Great Pyramid is not just a repository of ancient knowledge. It's a teaching machine, a curriculum designed to guide developing civilizations toward the understanding they need to survive. And the final lesson, the ultimate truth that the pyramid has been trying to teach us, is this: we are not separate from the cosmos. We are part of it, products of it, temporary expressions of the intelligence that permeates the universe itself. The builders of the pyramid understood this. They knew that consciousness is not limited to individual brains or species or planets. It's a fundamental property of reality, something that emerges wherever conditions are right, something that seeks to understand itself through countless forms across countless worlds. The pyramid stands as proof that this cosmic intelligence has been at work on Earth for far longer than we imagined, that it has taken many forms, built many civilizations, faced many catastrophes, and always, somehow, found a way to continue. We are its latest expression, but we will not be its last. The countdown that has been accelerating, the signals that have been intensifying, they're not warning us of our destruction. They're preparing us for our transformation, our evolution from a planetary species to a cosmic one. The sealed chambers of the pyramid don't just contain knowledge about the past. They contain blueprints for the future. Technologies that could allow us to survive the coming catastrophes. Techniques that could help us spread beyond Earth. Wisdom that could guide us toward becoming the next guardians of cosmic intelligence. But accessing this knowledge requires abandoning our assumptions about human uniqueness, about our place in the universe, about our destiny as a species. We are not the crown of creation. We are not the final expression of intelligence. We are students in a cosmic classroom, inheritors of a legacy that spans eons, participants in a story that began long before us and will continue long after we're gone. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands as our textbook, our teacher, our guide toward understanding truths that transcend individual existence. And the most important truth of all is this: intelligence never dies. It simply changes form, evolves, adapts, continues. The countdown never really ends because the cycle never stops. Civilizations rise and fall, species evolve and go extinct, planets form and are destroyed. But consciousness itself, the drive to understand and create and explore, that endures. The pyramid is not just a monument to human achievement. It's a monument to the achievement of consciousness itself, a testament to the fact that intelligence, once emerged, becomes eternal. And we, standing in its shadow, wondering at its mysteries, struggling to understand its purpose, we are the latest chapter in that eternal story. The acoustic chambers continue to resonate. The electromagnetic fields continue to fluctuate. The sealed chambers continue to guard their secrets. But now we understand why. They're not just preserving knowledge for us. They're preserving it for whoever comes next, for the intelligence that will emerge from the ashes of our civilization, for the consciousness that will inherit our legacy when we're gone. The Great Pyramid of Giza is not humanity's greatest mystery. It's consciousness's greatest gift, a repository of understanding that transcends individual species, a bridge between past and future, a promise that intelligence, once awakened, never truly dies. And we, in our brief moment of awareness, in our fleeting dance with understanding, we are privileged to be part of this eternal story, to contribute our small chapter to the vast book of cosmic consciousness. The countdown continues, not toward an end, but toward a beginning, not toward destruction, but toward transformation, not toward silence, but toward the next voice in the eternal conversation between intelligence and the universe. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands as proof that this conversation has been going on for far longer than we imagined, and it will continue long after we're gone, because consciousness is eternal, intelligence is immortal, and the drive to understand, to create, to explore, that never ends. The pyramid waits, patient, eternal, ready to teach its lessons to whoever is ready to learn. And somewhere in the darkness of those sealed chambers, the next chapter of the story is waiting to be written. The countdown never ends. It simply begins again. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built by consciousness, for consciousness, preserved by intelligence, for intelligence, forever. Served by intelligence, for intelligence, forever.